Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to an exciting episode with me, your host, Imperial Dane, the one and only Master Propaganda. Off you to another 1v1 on Twin Beaches. The North stands the Imperial himself, and this time as America, Freedom, Democracy. The first armed invasion tasked with breaking through the German lines here and push onwards towards Rome. I do like to play as the Americans from time to time as well, and just don't always play that one, but you know, it's what I like people to see me play as, so that's what I mostly get matches in, plus I enjoy them. In the south, we got Apoptosis fighting here for the Wehrmacht, Germany, Deutschland. Here with the 15th Panzergrenadier shown here into a single pioneer intergrenadier start here. I got straight into special operations, something besides armored, which you know there's definitely a bit of an overload on with here. So, got some spec ops, which I do think is still a pretty nice commander. Or battle group, I mean. Up north here we got the M29 Visceral. Steadily moving forwards here. Rapidly grabbing points with that one. Of course, we'll later upgrade it with the 30 cal. South here, scouts moving forwards here. Rapidly gobbling up territory with the Rival Squad falling up. First Grenadier Squad out here for Apoptosis and then a Maschinengewehr, 42. Which wasn't even the most produced heavy machine gun in the German arms. Actually, the MG34, despite the MG42 being easier and faster to produce, they just had a big old head start in the MG34, so by the time the war ended, they still had made more MG34s than MG42s. Fun fact. Got the point here secured. Got the rafts going towards the centre. Up north, weaves moving forwards as well here. Kind of fight with some infantry in general. As always, a big hearty thanks to my Patreon supporters who keep up the general support the Propagandacaster and keep moving, and also big thanks to Iron Fist for his generous donations and contributions via PayPal. Big thanks to everyone involved, particularly in these times where apparently someone is reporting the YouTube channel because I guess they don't like me doing Communist Fleet content, and so I'm getting, you know, my ad revenue messed with because some YouTubers like cracking down on every single one of them, so I got to send them back to human reviews. So, big thanks again for those who support me in these times. And, well, to those who wish to mess with my income, do something better with your life. Anyways, MG40 up the southern field point, grabbing the northern point here by the lighthouse. Scouts right up at the MG42. Further up north here, Pioneer seizing the northern field point. Rifle squad sitting there, go catch the grenadiers here, close to the lighthouse, push them back, trying to fall in here towards the lighthouse itself. There we go, gotta pop right in there and hold up my troops. Meanwhile, Weasel there just grabbing territory up north, adding the 30 cal there. Second Grenadier Squad northwards here for Apoptosis. And a third Rival Squad on the way there for Freedom and Democracy. Not so often you see this kind of engagement over the lighthouse. MG4 sitting up here, but you do get some interesting engagement, I think, from time to time around the lighthouse. It's one of those, you know, due to the elevation and everything else, you occasionally get some interesting engagement. A lot of the time it just gets ignored because people don't feel comfortable fighting around it. But this time around, the Apoptosis is fearless, and so am I, mostly. Third Rival Squad out there, Weasel continues his territory. We can see there, Apoptosis there heading the northern point here. Grenadiers moving forwards, scouts probing in from the north. We got the machine gun probing ahead here as well. So some heavy fighting here over the beaches.
They pushed us off a sector.
Scouts here catching the pioneers by the north point. Pull up by the Rifle Squad. South side, the fighting continues. And at this point, I'm probably starting to realise that, hang on, this engagement is just a big old waste of time for me, really. Seizing the centre point there. Sitting up behind here, hitting the cutoff point there, so he doesn't get easy access to his spot. Doesn't really hit that point any much. I need to also secure this centre road points. Pioneers being pursued here. And in this case, I'm just switching more forces northwards. As he's moving on my cutoff point, we got machine gun as well here, making it much further for me, difficult for me to like support him. We got a second machine gun down here for Apoptosis, so that's 2 Grenadiers, 2 MG42s here. Fairly popular build. I go for the smoke screens. Fourth Rival Squad on the way here. I do want a fair amount of infantry. Weasel meanwhile just keeps grabbing points up north here. Of course, I need to get all of this reconnected. So there we go. Apoptosis there with a strong push from our car point. Grenadiers backed up an MG42 and an MG42 carrying the flank here from the nearby building. Setting up for a really strong pin here. Certainly highlighting one of the reasons I'm not necessarily always a big fan of this map, because you can really get some nasty pins here on the beach side of the map. Which is probably to some degree why some players do prefer staying away from the beach and staying to the north, because you can't easily just set up such a pin here thanks to there not really being any buildings on the other end of the map.
Reports of enemy movement near our victory.
Bring in here. And I'm actually going to deploy some smoke here with the smoke screen ability. That said, it does take a while to get going, as I discovered. I think I kind of, from companies just assume it's going to be fast, but as you might notice here, it took several seconds before it activated. That might need to be just a wee bit fast, I don't know. Obviously not too fast, but certainly a bit faster than that, I think. He's quickly moving up here, of course, moving in there. Contest the point, machining southwards, trying to flank himself sides. I have research grenades that are looking to get close, maybe breach the building, but the assault is not really going my way at all here. That said, I have managed to kill pretty much the entire north side of the map, except for the fuel point right side of Apoptosis base. Grenades into the point, second machine here firing in there, and I don't have munitions for a second smoke screen, so I'm finally pushed off the car point again. Trying to get close here, falls out the machine gun team here. Got the floor side there blown up with a grenade, but ultimately the machine gun remains in position. Apoptosis is not budging 1 inch. Weasel doing a bit of self-repair, so this does have that as an ability. Each withdraw from here, and there's certainly a chance I can end up losing rifle. This has just been a series of very expensive engagements that really haven't made me like any ground there. So that's pretty rubbish for me, but pretty great for my opponent. Should have gone for a mortar, I think, faster response to this. And we actually got an interesting choice here, though, by Apoptosis. We get the Luftwaffe Company here. You don't see that one too often nowadays. And he's going for Jaegers. So that's a interesting change there, a deviation. Mortar on the way. Weasel still repairing. Does take a bit of a while there. Of course, I could also at some point go for the utility package earlier, and I probably should have flares and smoke. That would also have been a very nice supporting element. But now I do have a mortar out. Meanwhile, Apoptosis and the 15th Panzergrenadier Division, 6th Panzergrenadier Companies managed to secure the beaches in their entirety, giving him a really solid position with a lot of resources, fuel, munitions, all of that. Plus, of course, 2 victory points. Jaeger's pushing forward here, getting the reconnaissance package, which means scoped G43s and access to flares. Weasel there, gaining veterans you want. Of course, I could also use the Weasel just lay down maybe a mortar, but I want to spend those munitions on, grenades and whatnot. But there's an argument I should have gone for that instead. Pushing forward here, machine pushed out here. The smokes from there definitely just forced my opponent just withdraw or get breached. We got grenades up here on the hill. Weasel there trying covering fast well for the rifleman against the grenadiers. Grabbing the fuel point here on the beaches. Jaegers engaging there with the G43, the Gewehr 43. So a bit of a turn into the field here. Meanwhile, back here we got machine the punish moving forwards again. We do also have the triage or healing up there. Weasel is heavily damaged. Ralph's caught there with the Weasel's help. Push back the Jaegers. Making some progress back on the field here. And we can see that Apoptosis falling back to slightly more defensible positions. Now with the mortar making it much harder for him to just maintain such an easy pen otherwise. Certainly the highlights that you really do need mortars, particularly against the Vermont at the moment. Especially in a map like this. I'm going to go for the Mechanized Support Center. I know infantry's, the cool new thing, but I do prefer Mechanized Support Center personally. In particular, in the face of Jaegers, which means he might also go for Panzerschrecks. And here's a fun thing about the Mechanized Center upgrades. One of them, has an upgrade that besides increasing the armor of your tanks and vehicles, also means they take a little less damage from Panzerschrecks. In particular, Shermans take a 60 less damage from a Panzerschreck hit. So if my opponent decides to go heavy on the Panzerschrecks, a Mechanized Support Center could prove to be very handy. Big push up the center of the Grenadiers, the Pioneers, Rifle force back. Plus, I just like the Mechanized Support Center as well. I mean, that's also part of the reason I go for it. I just like Mechanized Support Center. Got the Grenadiers, Pioneers up the center here. And I've gone here for the metal stage to provide extra healing for my men because, a lot of them are quite beaten up. So this allows me, by the way, to then rush out the tank depot because I kind of figure, my best bet at this stage is probably just to rush out tanks and trying to, get under my opponent before he's ready for tanks. So, bit of mind games here and a bit of risky maneuvering there for me strategically. We got more Jaegers out here for Apoptosis and the 15th Panzergrenadier. We got mines in the carve point here. Thumbs up to Apoptosis, in this case a bit late to the party before the rifle move in and ruin the entire thing. Straight up on the carve point again. course, at this point, I probably also should, it's near future, consider, like, you know, bars, but at this point, my plan is very much just rush out the Shermans, then maybe get some improvised armor up, and eventually get a 76mm conversion. Handbars the Weasley, damaging the engine. Good cost from the Weasel here, and of course, my free healing. Yep. Pop goes, well, the Weasel! Truly, that is where it came from. No, it isn't. And of course, if you want to believe that, knock yourself out. Just don't write it in your history exam or something like that. Your teacher's probably going to have you hung, drawn, and quartered. So a lot of action here across the entire front line between me and Apoptosis. Lots of massive attacks, feints, maneuvers, and the occasional smokescreen here. Certainly not a dull fight up north here. Ralph Squad as the Jaegers backed up the Info 2 team here. Worth noting, of course, Apoptosis is generally, I think, quite maneuvering about with his machine guns, which is, of course, very good play there by him. Thumbs up. As long as he does not extend his machine guns. Jaegers are well forced back. You know, Jaeger equipment, though, might actually be more focused on MP40s due to, again, you know, they're fighting in more rough terrain with close ranges, so there seems to be some indication looking at some organizational charts here and that they're actually much more MP40 equipped than you might otherwise think. But there's certainly a tendency to think of them like, you know, these elite light long-range infantry, but they might have been more, you know, elite close quarters infantry with MP40s and such. Fun fact. Bringing in the MG42 team, pushing it back. And there we go. 11, almost 12 minutes Sherman away from me. And meanwhile, we can see there we got more Jaegers, but we also got a fast panzer company up here. So both of us are thinking fast tanks. The only difference is he's also thinking Jaegers. I mean, they do look cool, though. No argument about that. They're nice camouflage parkers there. I wish we'd get that version for the Panzer Grenadiers or something. I'd love that. There's an idea, Relic. Camouflage parkers for the Panzer Grenadier. Yes. Anyways, Sherman out there, adding the 5th cal as soon as possible. And of course, the Ralph Squad here, catching them in a bad spot. I will, of course, now need a medical station up, going for it. In fact, we can hear in the background, Ralph Squad there, forced off the field. I was trying to say flushed and forced at the same time. Getting flossed. Making me sound like a really bad Rick and Morty skit. Sherman there, pushing into the MD42 there. In the centre there, Jaegers forcing out the scouts. Of course, the Sherman around here, I imagine, will prompt some Raketen Panzerbüchse. 54, Panzerschrecks. Jaegers team veterans 1 here. Also got these SSF commanders at the ready. Aiding the Jaegers fearlessly. Meanwhile, though, my opponent just keeps up pressuring, attacking, using his large amount of infantry, but I mean, he's got 2 Grenadier squads, but crucially 3 Jaeger squads. Versus my full Ralph squads and the Scout squad there, of course, his Grenadiers equipped with MP40s, and I haven't upgraded my rifle from the BAR, so that does mean the Grenadiers actually enjoy a bit of advantage today. And now we got the Panzerfahrt here for Apoptosis and the German army. Nice addition as always, Sherman getting the Grenadiers by the field point. Trying to defend that at least. Also got here assault operation. And we're getting the Ralph squad here by the middle of the road up north here for the field point there. Quick anti-tank here on the Panzer IV. Slightly giving it a shock here up north by the hill. The Jaegers and the machine remain fairly dug in. Sherman running forwards here. Great hit, and there you go. We got the Panzerschreck ready. Misses, but the Panzer IV does not miss the Sherman. Certainly, of course, as one I prefer to miss, it would be the Panzerschreck over the Panzer IV. There definitely has to have been a drop there after they nerfed the Panzerschreck from just being, you know, less just easily mass spammed, but there's still definitely people who like having access to the Raketen Panzerbüchse. And so I do think long term they probably will need to buff the Luftwaffe company a bit, mostly for the Wirbelwind, and I think that 221 there could probably do with some small buffs. Engineers will need to help repair my tank, because while the Mechanized support center can provide some minor repairs, they are very minor and very slow. I would certainly not recommend relying on them for fixing your tanks. Not unless your opponent is, you know, very, very, very dead and not playing the game.
Engineer! They've taken our victory point. Our territory is cut off from supply. Reconnect.
There you go, straight on the carpet again. Consistent harassment there by Apoptosis. Very well played there. Quick grenade return here though on the Jaegers, forcing their way there with a Ketten Panzerbooster. Worth noting, Panzerschrecks were typically organized into a specific tank hunter unit or tank destroyer units, Panzerzerstörer. Typically with 2 Panzerschrecks, I think roughly amongst 4 men. And as the war went on, they'd actually replace anti-tank gun units in some divisional type. For example, Fuchs Grenadiers would see most of the anti-tank guns replaced with Panzerschreck teams. Fun fact. Last Bombardier here with the Panther 4. Interesting enough, no pin-up machining gun on that one. My Sherman's almost fixed up. I can also soon go for a second one. North here route was the Jaegers. Not been upgraded yet. And we got the MP40 gunners moving in as well. 309 versus 387. Rifleman pushed off here. Mines here from Apoptosis. Thumbs up. Second Sherman away, then engaging the Panther 4 with the Sherman.
Crowds are securing our capture point.
Then he's versus the Sherman up north. Panther 4 gets off a nice flanking shot, then the Sherman.
We have 300 points. Confirmed.
Great shot from the Sherman there on the Grenadiers, but the Panther 4 keeps up the pursuit and is not letting up here. Sherman, though, has managed to achieve veterans 1 here.
A munitions point is being attacked.
But so has his Panther 4 as well there. Second Sherman is almost done. Up north here, fighting for the fuel and munitions point continues. Also troops sneaking about in the south here via the beaches in the landing zone. Sherman falling back for repairs, and second Sherman is almost done.
M4A1 Sherman deployed.
There you go, another Sherman tank ready, another 50 cal on the way.
The enemy have taken
Also might be tempted soon to go for some improvised armor to help deal with these Panzerschrecks, and of course make my Shermans slightly tough against the Panther 4 as well. Jaeger's pushing up here against the Rifle Squad.
points is under attack.
And of course, I also really should consider some BAR soon, but there we go. I do go for improvised armor first here. Gives my Shermans a bit of extra edge. Obviously this is the Panzerschrecks, but also this is the Panther 4. Panzerschrecks teaming up here, and surprisingly hasn't upgraded the other Jaeger squad with Panzerschrecks. Get surprised at that. Improvised armor done, there we go. And suddenly again, you might notice the Sherman takes notably less damage there. So if you're up against an opponent like, you know, who is going for a lot of Panzerschrecks, and you got Mechanized, you really want improvised armor to really negate a good portion of that. We got the Panther 4 downward side skirts, thumbs up, the Schutzen, and a bit of surprise, you've got a Sturmpanzer 4 out here for Apoptosis. Can't say I saw that one coming, but clearly he believes in the Sturmpanzer. Far south, he goes. And he's pushed back the Ralph squad here. More to their firing off the airburst, not airburst, but the delayed fuse barrage. Wiping out, destroying the machine gun. Honestly, that probably needs a nerf. Honestly, it can at times just neatly wipe the machine gun and then destroy it before every chance to get it out of there. A bit overtuned, unfortunately. North here, the Sherman's being repaired. Troops forcing healing. And finally, at the 80-minute mark, I go for the BARs. I definitely shout those up much sooner, though, no matter what. I've probably been able to punish my opponent much better there, so thumbs down to me now on some very late BARs. In this case, of course, it sort of got countered by just fast enough Shermans, but ideally I should have those BARs much sooner. Not much of a real excuse for that one. There we go, BARs up, and suddenly the MP40 Grenadiers are a bit more gunned here. More mines here from Apoptosis. Nice mining. Sturmpanzer covering up here with its 150mm gun. Note this is an earlier model of the Sturmpanzer 4. Later models would actually have a whole machine gun there mounted at the top. And when the Sherman shoots, misses. Shermans do not miss the fact that still hits. And of course I get in pretty aggressively because I got the improvised armor. But also, he went for a second Sturmpanzer instead of a second Panther 4 here. So while again, great as my infantry, it's not too good against the Shermans. They're not with improvised armor, so suddenly Apoptosis here is significantly extended with the Sturmpanzer. It is far away from home, far away from anything can significantly harm the Shermans. That's a bit of a blunder here tactically by my opponent, and one of course I am more than happy to exploit. I think he should go on for another Panther 4 first, or again had multiple Panzerschreck teams supporting that Sherman. Either way though, he failed to achieve either of these two goals, and this of course meant I could just get pretty aggressive with my Shermans. Now of course there's a Panzerschreck team, but with significantly less damage being done per rocket hit, I can afford to somewhat ignore the Jaegers and just go hunting for the Sturmpanzer. Step on it, Carl, I want that thing in flames. There goes Sturmpanzer kaputt. Partner blow, he lost his Panther 4 and his Sturmpanzer 4 without knocking out either of the Shermans. Still has good map control though. Still has a good chunk of infantry. But things are starting to get a bit less comfortable for him. Machine gun catch march, they got the Shermans flank up behind. German here kinda slows down where it shouldn't, and I think allows to get caught here with the Jaegers and the Panzerschreck knocking out. Meanwhile, big push up the center here through the main resort road, and there goes Sherman down, cooked up like a Christmas goose in a furnace. Scout space in the south. Still got those alive, by the way. I think those players would have lost them by now, but not me. I can lose pioneers much faster, but somehow I can't get those scouts killed. Northeast Sherman versus Jaegers, and calling in some SSF commandos. Bit of more elite infantry, pushing up to 5 squads, but also, I know I'm up against breakthrough. I've seen the MP40 Grenadiers, so I don't exactly need to do any high level mathematics to figure out I'm probably going to get hit by targeting at some point. And so the plan is to bring in some SSF commandos, partly to help versus the infantry, but also to provide some assistance versus a Tiger. But also I just want more infantry in the field. And I do find in Company Sphere you can be more rewarded for having larger infantry forces, more aggressive maneuvers. Only a 10 packing there. Northern point being ceased. More mines here for Apoptosis. And then got another Raketen Panzerbuchse for Jaegers. Multiple catching the pioneers here. We got 211 versus 365. Next goal will be another Sherman, but I am going to be going for some 76mm conversions in the future because again I'm expecting Tiger tanks. I really want a bigger gun on my Sherman for dealing with said Tiger tanks. I may be a little aggressive to the point of reckless, but I'm not an idiot. Good shot on the machine gun team, they got the Panzer team ready here. Trying to hit the Sherman, but I'm obviously not about to allow that to happen. Of course, another thing for him to consider eventually would be some Starstorm. Commanders being forward here, caught here by the MB-42. The initial incursion here, rapidly halted by the German army, though no casualties are inflicted, and the SSF commanders are able to get out of there with a white phosphorus grenade carrying the retreat. Remember, they're not just for damaging infantry, they're also for blocking line of sight. There's a lot of back and forth action here, starting to get a bit more grip of things. The loss of those 2 tanks really hurt my opponent. I do mean it really hurt him. For mines, he's really consistent with his mining, by the way, and of course highlights a big issue for me. I haven't gone for any minesweepers. Partly because I'm actually not that used to opponents laying down a lot of mines. I mean, there are occasionally some, but the vast majority of players run into typically don't bother a lot with mines. Roll towards the Jaegers. Going in here. Machine gun pioneers coming out. Quick grenade on the Jaegers. Second Sherman almost done. Sherman technically. Yeah, he's clearly holding up for the Tiger now, and there he goes to say that he gets the Tiger in. Found a 4th Schwere Panzerabteilung, 2nd Schwere Panzerkompanie, sending forth the Tiger tank. Fun fact, heavy tiger tank units actually saw a lot of changes throughout the war in terms of how they're organized. Initially, the anti-Panzer IIIs attached to them, specifically the Model N, with the 7.5mm cannon to provide support against infantry. But they'd be dropped, and later on they'd see some smaller infantry complements with 250 half tanks actually attached to support them. Fun fact. It's been bombarded here by the Shermans. Tiger tank pushing onto the beaches. And certainly wants to see that Tiger tank. I'm very much going to get forced to push for those 76mm upgrades. South here, the machine gun here. Mortar volley I set up here in the lighthouse. Actually provides a good base of fire, and my opponent actually doesn't really react to it a lot of the time, which I find a bit interesting. North here, though, Jaegers in some deep top with SS commandos with their Johnson light machine guns. They do like their Johnsons, don't they? And there you go, Jaeger squad wiped out. Repped a party on the retreat on the beaches in the north. That said, I do suffer the scouts finally getting wiped out. They set alive for quite a long while there, honestly. 15th Panzer Gun Marine secured the centre here with the Tiger tank supported by a plethora of infantry. Of course, more infantry support will be good. Jaegers, machine being forced. Some Starstorm I think could still be a good addition for them. I really need that 76mm upgrade here. Grabbing the northern points. Reposition the Shermans just a bit. 181 to 36. I mean, Apoptosis really maintains good victory points against me. He's been very good at just getting that map control in when it matters. But his strategy is starting to hit some issues there. Now again, that Panther 4 into Sturm Panzer 4 move there rather left him a bit exposed. And now I'm upgrading here the Shermans to the 76mm upgrades. Smoke being deployed here. And that's smoke that's mortified, just kicking up a lot of water here by the landing zone. Machine team pushing into the beaches. A lot of action up north here. We got engineers spotted by a good chunk of pioneers backed up the Jaegers. Spawn the Tiger here. South Jaegers forced away. Galang's firing off some late fuse barrages there. We got the Shermans upgraded with the some guns. Increased penetration. Those wondering how does that work, how does just longer gun work, it basically means the shell itself achieves a higher velocity, meaning it can punch through more armor. It also means it becomes more accurate, but that's typically less talked about. But it was one of the advantages, for example, of the Panther. And its high velocity gun, it meant it really didn't have to adjust its aim much. The distance, I believe, at least according to some crews. But again, it just meant boom, higher penetration, could punch through a lot of armor.
Sector gone.
So we got the Shermans here. Brass coming up here, flanking around here. We got the Jaegers setting up an ambush position, but they do get away with the position of my infantry. That obviously puts a bit of a dent into Apoptosis flanking. There you go. Spotting the Shermans here on the outskirts of the town here. We got a breach going on here. Quickly moving in. Police style there. Jaegers pushed out. Northfield flanking of the last court, the SSF commandos. Things leading up here. And there you go, popping grenades here. SSF commandos moving up, equipping them with the high explosive demo charge. Grenades being mauled there by the cutoff point. Moving in for more anti-tank grenades here on the Tiger tank. Looking to damage the engine. There you go, engine blown out. Without the Shermans pull in for the attack here. Vetchi 2 on one of them already. Jaegers pointing their building. That's it, not looking like an increasingly safe building. Bazooka fire there, both rockets fail to penetrate the Tiger tank Sherman bouncers. Pushing forwards here, there you go, penetrating hit, another penetrating at close range with those sensitive guns, but I'm looking to flank it just to make sure there's no chance of bouncing. Splitting up the Shermans to make it a bit harder for the Tiger tank, just easy to deal with both of them. There you go, getting one behind the Tiger tank with this. He does get the 82 Sherman, but his Tiger tank here does go up in flames here. A big blow here to Apoptosis and the 15th Panzer Grenadier Division. SF commandos there, heavily damaged, but they did manage to help knock out that Tiger tank machine, then push back with the Sherman. So suddenly looking a lot rougher here for Apoptosis. Not just he's lost the Panther 4 and a Sturm Panther 4, he's lost a Tiger tank. He's really only got 2 knocked out Shermans to show for it, and of course I can more easily just replace the lost Sherman with another Sherman. That said, Apoptosis, of course, quick to replace this around with Panther 4s. Of course, it needs to be mindful against these 7.6 Shermans. They're going to absolutely penetrate that Panther 4 most, if not all of the time. It does make more sense to push for Panther 4s at this stage, rather than try and like hold out for another target tank. So at this stage, you may of course want to consider some officers' quarters to get those Panther 4s to veterans who run faster. To unlock that rapid fire ability here. Good shot here. In the south, the small offensive here going in. Jaeger spearheading the effort there. Others in the center, churning forwards. Going to the Panzerschreck Raketen Panzerbüchse. Panther gets a nice hit. Jaeger still getting absolutely pumped by those two Shermans. And we'll need to fall back with that Panther 4 here. Pioneers getting pummeled here. More Jaegers moving up from the beaches to assist here. Assault continues with the SSF commandos, leading the way backed up with those two Shermans. It's a pretty grim battle here for control of the middle of the town. Jaegers are dropping like overly fat flies. King falls back here. More engineers will of course repair my tanks. More troops moving back here for reinforcement healing.
We have territory under attack.
Going back the fuel point in the south. Shermans being pulled back for repairs. Don't want to risk losing them. In particular, the Vetri 2 Sherman would be quite a waste to toss away. All mines. I mean, really consistent mining here by Apoptosis. Like, really well done. And of course, not well done at all by me. Just really not going for minesweepers at all. It's just, you know, poor performance by me. No excuses. Delayed fuse barrage again. Wipes the machine gun.
Point is being attacked.
Another push in the center here from Apoptosis. Mastering another platoon level assault here with the Panther backed up by Jaegers and Pioneers. In the south here, they'll push onto the beaches. SSF commanders, though, suffered an absolute brutal beating here. Bringing the riflemen to follow up here. Here they got the Jaegers and the Pioneers being forced back up with their Panther 4, absolutely murdering the riflemen and leave them destroyed. And up north here, Shermans are being fixed up with engineers. Hard work going on there. Of course, I'm not too far away from another Sherman. I could also consider like the 105 mm Sherman. I was actually tempted towards doing it.
A fuel point is being lost.
And we got a Panzergrenadier company out now here actually from Apoptosis. I imagine he's going for Pack 40s here. I don't really see any other reason at this stage of the game to go for a Panzergrenadier company. Unless you're thinking packs. Because if you're me, you would have gone for this as the first thing possible. And gone for Stooks already anyway, so...
Enemy movement near a victory point.
Theoretically, I might have been tempted to push for a Luftwaffe company into the Panzergrenadier company, but that's about it. But we do get some Starstorm out here fighting from him. Thumbs up. I would like to see Starstorm.
A victory point is under attack.
Strafing around there at the radius well. Also got the Whiz-Bang. It's particularly good at the moment, and I do agree with most players who always point out that, yeah, it does need a buff. Like, its range is just too small. You can still do some fun stuff with it, but its range is just too short. I think for like serious combat. Let's go push off the beaches here. Up north, Sherman pushing forwards again. With late fuse barrages there. Got 165 and actually able to get ahead now here at Apoptosis and the 15th Panzergrenadier Division. Start some towards the beaches here. Start some flying away there. Slow, steadily approaching Veterans 1 here. Quick grenade here. And of course, mortar fire here from the lighthouse. I'm still surprised he hasn't really at this stage like charged up that lighthouse to force off my mortar, but and the thought never crosses his mind at this stage. Plenty spotted here. The far northern beach points. There we go. Puns up they can only field sick on the way for Apoptosis and the German army. Highlighting these days, starting to get really tired of these Shermans. My God, he's for damn to Shermans! When somebody stops him, there's a Luftwaffe! So flying over a party of Hammond Girl in Berlin. Oh, scheiße, not again. Now the Sherman on the way there. But again, it does highlight, you know, how effective that improvised armor build can be. It's like, he would probably prefer to just rely on the Panzerschrecks, but with improvised armor, his Panzerschrecks become a lot less, well, not a lot less, but notably less effective here, so he's suddenly forced to have to go for Pack 40s here. And here, strafing run pins down both the Jaeger squads there with the Panzerschrecks, and now we've got the Germans pushing in for the Panther Force suddenly isolated, as the Jaegers are still pinned down at the expense of the US Air Force, leaving them somewhat, you know, traumatized. Here we got the Panther 4 popping the rapid fire bullets with the Shermans pushing in here, going in hard. The Panther 4 is just taking penetrating hit after penetrating hit here, and down it goes. A huge blow here to him. Third Sherman out here. Jaegers charging after those Shermans. Other Jaegers are dying here in the streets. Have some unknown Italian beach town. Jaegers being mauled, and of course we got the aircraft. They're still going off the bit of airfield. It's a fun little bug. It's a fun little one. Pioneers poking back in the east. Back following forwards. Start on them again.
Territory point. Enemy contact.
Go. Also got some tank riders here along, because I love that little detail as well. So to make use of it as much as possible, because, you know, A, the light should be moving fast, but also decreases the overall management you have to do, because suddenly it's like 2 units, you just like, you know, hand on one there. So it can make like handling these kind of mixed infantry armor formations a lot easier under like those various conditions. But there you go, finally pushing for the big lighthouse here, but now it's too late. I like the attempt though. 159 versus 79. 73, 70. Situation here, though, is looking much tougher for Apoptosis and the German army. Big 2 points are bleeding out. 58. 55.
Got the word from battalion command. Enemy down to 50 points. Force their
49 points left here for Apoptosis, letting up for a large Jaeger flank up north here. Full 3 squads. Sherman's hanging back here, could do the ping 1, and we got a Marder. Wow, you do not see those very often, do you? Up from the Wehrmacht they did. Stack, of course, you see a lot of them, but not the Marder 3 Model M, which is the last model of Marder, before they stopped making those entirely. But they would see service until the end of the war. Fun fact. Start swimming in here. 10 points, 7, 4, 2, and that is it. GG here. So there you go. Game over. A fierce fight here on Twin Beaches with a lot of back and forth action. Some initial really good success by my opponent, but again, some crucial mistakes here and there, combined with some aggressive tank play from me, rather undid him. Plus, of course, just improvised armor to significantly negate the effect of his Panzerschrecks, which really, I think, also in part messed up his strategy. But there's also that bit there with the Panzer IV and the Sturm Panzer IV isolated east rushed down by the Germans, and I think that was like probably like the defining-ish moment of the match, where it really just swung in my favor, and after that he really struggled, I think, to get back into the match. The Tiger tank was like a close second, but again, allowed to get swarmed, didn't fall back in time, at which point I could just push in my Shermans and wreck it. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. Hope it gives you some matches. If you did subscribe, like, share, comment. You can also support the Propagandacaster by donating on Patreon, or donating on PayPal, Patreon, links in the description. This is Imperial saying cheers, and see you all tomorrow for another episode. Bye everyone!